Oh my gosh, don't tell me Polish people are walking too close to people. There's no way it's that bad. Like, actually, there is no way that is true. I can't comprehend that. I really can't. What in the world is that? What is up? Welcome back. Today we're watching a video titled 5 Things That Drive Me Crazy in Poland. I have been discovering Poland now for a couple months, and this beautiful country keeps blowing me away. And now we're starting to get into more of the local aspect. This video is from an American who lives in Poland, so I can't wait to get into what he has to say. What's up? My name's Aaron, and this is Aaron on Reacts. Through this channel, I'm discovering everything about Europe. The people, the culture, the sports, the music, the food, anything you can imagine. I have 2 simple goals: to laugh together and to learn and have fun together. I post videos every single day, so make sure you hit like and subscribe so you're gonna see another one just like this in the future. But now let's get into the 5 things that drive me crazy in Poland. Episode 16.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Love My Poland. I've just come back from a class this morning at a local company here in Częstochowa, and I asked a few of my students, what do you think about the channel? Are things going well? Are you enjoying the episodes? And they said, yes, absolutely, we love them, make more, but you really ought to think about talking about some things you don't love about Poland. You know, just because the channel is called Love My Poland doesn't mean you can't talk about things you don't love. And at first I was really hesitant. I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to get a lot of thumbs down in this video, people are going to hate it, and maybe I shouldn't do that. But he said, don't worry about it, just do it anyway. Talk about some things you don't like, or maybe some things you wish could be different about the country.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. So we're gonna get a negative side here. One thing I have to comment on quickly is, first off, beautiful park. We have an amazing fountain behind him. It looks green and lush, but these are the coolest tables I have ever seen. These are chess tables. It looks like they're permanent, just in the middle of the park. Anybody can go play anytime. Is it normal for people to go play in the park in Poland to play chess? Because that is one of the coolest things I've maybe ever seen.
So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I have 5 things today that I'd like to share with you that drive me crazy when it comes to living in Poland. So let's begin. The first thing is that Polish people tend to be lazy. You know, kind of comparing that to America. The first thing is that Polish people tend to be lazy.
Lazy? What does that mean? Does it mean lazy?
You know, kind of comparing that to America, I remember when I would go on job interviews or if I had to be at a university lecture, my goodness, even being 5 minutes before that time was already iffy. But in Poland, we have the polar opposite. To give you a good example, we have a rapidly growing language school in Częstochowa called Base English School. And I personally see over 300 students per week. And I would easily say that more than half of those students come to my classes late. The majority of them are late.
All right, that's awesome. So Polish people are late all the time. Maybe it's just these youngsters. What do you think? Are Polish people known for being late?
To class. You know, it's their right to do that, and they do apologize for being late. They say next week it'll be better. But after all the years, it still drives me mad. I just can't comprehend it. But I do love my Polish people. It is the way it is. Things are slowly changing, and what can you do? The second point is body distance in Poland. I am really phobic about personal distance. If you come...
Oh my gosh, don't tell me Polish people are walking too close to people. I've encountered this in Europe. I think, for example, he's sitting there on that bench, right? If someone walks like within this far of the table for an American like him and like me, that's way too close. Don't walk close to me. It's kind of threatening. At least that's how we feel. We feel uncomfortable. We feel a bit like we might get attacked. Honestly, that's how it feels. So that's interesting. In Poland, people walk too close to you. Is that true? I hope that's not true. I just don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's because it's such a safe society. No one feels threatened when they walk too close. Maybe that's why. In the US, you always feel threatened. Do not walk too close to someone in the US. They really will look at you and maybe think you're gonna do something crazy. So yeah, that's a bad one.
You come too close, I feel awkward, and I start to think of ways immediately of how to escape. It's just the way I am. I've tried to change it over the years, but I can't. I need a certain amount of body distance. And you know, according to online and different books that have written about it, the appropriate personal distance is about 1.5 feet or about half a meter. And in Poland, often these rules may not apply. The older generation especially feels comfortable getting really, really close in the zone. You know, sometimes they just go nose to nose with me and they talk, and wow, I feel really awkward, I feel really uncomfortable. And that's just something you're going to have to get used to here in Poland. It is tough, especially if you're phobic like I am about that distance. And you know, I think the prime example of where you'll find this problem is in supermarkets. While standing in the line or in the queue, these rules definitely don't apply, the body distance rules. I cannot count the number of times that I've been hit in the back with somebody's shopping cart. I'm still really struggling with that.
Really?
It's usually, again, the
There's no way it's that bad. Like, actually?
older generation. So body distance in Poland, a little bit closer to the point where sometimes you're uncomfortable. But with the younger society, they've kind of understood that, so shouldn't be a problem. The third point is Polish coins. You know, the paper money is pretty good. You've got paper money here and they're ordered. Every denomination of money is according to the size and the amount, a little bit smaller. It goes from small to large. So for example, we have a 10 or a 20 and it's given color coordinated. You've got a 20 here in pink color and it's got a circle to kind of help you know what bill that is. So it's smaller, it's a 20. We've got a 50.
Wait, interesting. So the 20, okay, the 20 is smaller than the 50.
Here, the 50 is a blue color and it's got a little diamond on it. So
Okay, that's interesting. By the way, if you don't mind telling me, who are these people on these bills? Because those look really fascinating. Also, I don't know how the Polish zloty translates, but how does that translate to like a euro or USD? I mean, I can look that up afterwards, but if you know off the top of your head, that would be amazing.
So it is a little bit bigger than the 20, so it goes logically in order from smallest to largest. And then you've got really the everyday 100 zloty bill, and that's got a plus sign on top, and it is one of the larger bills. So very, very logical. I love the paper money. But when we come to the coins, the Polish coins, this is when we have a problem. You have here the order of basic Polish coins. We've got 1 grosz, 2 grosze, 5 grosze, up to the silver coins, 10, 20, and 50. And as you can see, they're relatively close in size. They have the same surface, they feel the same, they're the same color. And looking at a distance and searching through your wallet when it's time to pay, I always struggle, especially with the two smaller coins. The 1 and the 2 are very much similar, and I always pick the wrong one out of there. The 10 and the 20 as well. And it's equally the same when you get to the 20 and 50. They're very, very close together in size, and being the same color, wow, it's confusing. So I go through.
All right, I think he was just looking for something to talk about there. That's interesting. I mean, in the US, our coins are basically worthless. Like, even the 25 cent is really, you don't get much with that anymore. I think America just did away with the penny, if I'm not mistaken. So we no longer have the 1 cent. So we have 5, 10, 5, 10, 5, 10, 25. Is that it? Wow, we have 3 coins. Yeah, 5, 10, 25. Interesting. But yeah, this is a very specific gripe.
I go through my wallet very, very often. I pull it out in my hand, and sometimes I just stick out my hand like this to the cashier and I say, would you please count the coins? Just take what you need. Because it takes so long and I get flustered. There are people behind me waiting impatiently. Everybody's in a hurry to get out of the store. So coins cause me a bit of stress living in Poland. Polish coins need to be changed. But as we get into the bigger coins, like the 2 zloty and the 5 zloty coins and the 1 zloty, I don't have an example of that here, but it's a silver one. They're very, very distinguishable, so you don't confuse these. But the smaller amounts, from the 1 grosz to the 50 grosze, is really, really a headache for me, so take that into consideration. Coins are also problematic in shops. I would safely reckon that about 80% of the time you'll be asked to search for change. And if you do not have change, the cashier will always make a sour, frustrated face at you. Every single time.
You better have some change. Do not come in there with $100 bill and no coins. Don't do it.
They ask for change. Do you have 37 grosz or whatever? I say, oh no, I don't have any. They kind of sigh, they exhale, and okay, maybe you'll pay with a credit card or a bank card. Okay, I can pay with a credit card or bank card, and we do it that way. And I've had a time, I was at the seaside recently, I didn't have the right change, I didn't have any bank cards with me, and the lady literally asked me, maybe you'll come back later when you have some money, the exact change.
There is no way that is true. He was sent away for not having exact change. I can't comprehend that. I really can't. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to using cash or coins at all. Like coins especially, we don't use in America. We do use dollar bills, but I mean, I'm sure Poland is more advanced now. I mean, this video is 7 years old, so maybe it's completely different than it used to be, but I'd be curious. Yeah, I'd be curious to ask you that.
I didn't go back to the store. I canceled the transaction and just left. So change can be a real problematic point for you when you live here. My advice is to get yourself a wallet with a coin pouch. They're almost impossible to find back in the US, but here in Poland, the leather wallets almost always come with a little coin pouch for men where you can keep your coins in there and be prepared for the time that you're going to have to produce change. The fourth point that drives me completely insane about eating out in Poland, Polish napkins. If you've ever been to Poland, you know exactly what I'm talking about before I
What does he mean? I don't know what he's talking about. I've been to Poland. I don't know what he's talking
Let's start talking. But let me fill you in if you've never been here. In a lot of restaurants still today, there are napkins, if you want to call them this way. They are kind of square pieces of transparent, very thin, non-absorbent
What in the world is that?
paper that are kind of twisted in a way and stuffed into this clamp device. And if you're not aware of how to get these napkins out, you're going to have real problems. Let me give you a great example of the right way and the wrong way to do this. Now, I just want to tell you, first of all, that I have a master's degree in business, and these napkins still give me fits today. If I'm not focused on how to do it, I will make a mess at the table. The wrong way is to go along the long side of the napkins and just try to remove one. You cannot do it that way. You have to take the napkins, turn it toward you where you're looking at it in a vertical fashion. Put your finger in the opening of the napkins and remove a napkin from the inside of that opening out. It is absurd. It is ridiculous. These napkins need the ancient history right now.
These napkins are giving him the biggest headache of all time. I have never, ever heard of someone complain about some napkins. But, you know, it's funny because his students told him, hey, find me 5 things that drive you crazy. That's honestly a fair one. I mean, I don't know what it's like in the modern times, but that looks like a very, 1970s and 60s kind of napkin device. Maybe it's changed by now. I imagine it has.
The 5th and final point, everybody needs to hear this point. Listen very, very carefully. If you are a Polish person and you meet somebody from England, from Australia, from the United States, from Canada, from any country that is quote unquote a richer country, do not ask that person, what are you doing in Poland? Isn't it better to live there? Don't you have better opportunities abroad? This question is the question you don't want to ask me. It drives me insane. I hate this question. I have a good job in Poland. I have my own business. I make pretty good money. My children love living here. I love living here. The winters are long and hard. That's true. But I asked them, I just turn the question back around. I say, okay, let's do it this way. Besides better money and besides better prices of petrol or gasoline, why don't you tell me what's better about living in America? I'm all ears. And usually,
Oh yeah, this question. I can imagine this really drives him nuts. I mean, everyone knows he's a foreigner. I wonder if this guy actually speaks Polish, living there now for, I don't know, he's probably been there for 10 years. I wonder. Yeah, this question would really drive me nuts, but it's fair. I mean, if you're Polish and you want to know why someone moved there, I mean, it would make sense. You think of maybe these countries as like the opportunity countries and just as, magical place, but maybe it's not all that it seems to be, and that's what he's saying, yeah.
usually the reaction on their face, they're just completely frozen. They have no idea what to say. Really think about it. What is better? Poland's in the European Union. You can travel all across Europe right now. There are many places to discover here. The same is true in America, a lot of beautiful places to see. So let's go through it. I really hope that this mentality of Poland is worse, Poland is bad, will change. Because honestly speaking, it's insulting to me and it's insulting to you to ask that question as a Polish person. So thank you for watching this episode. Please don't give me a thumbs down on this video. I'm just telling
That was a great video. I loved it. I think some of the things were maybe a reach, but really he did a great job. He seems like he's been there for a while. When I think about Poland, I think about a hidden gem. Obviously that word is completely thrown around all the time, but I think of this country that is currently exploding with expats moving there, with people, Polish nationals who moved away, coming back. I think of a growing population. I think of a secure border. I think of a lot of happy people who live pretty well. And I think also of a huge tech industry, a booming economy. I think there's so many positives in Poland. I think of a strong market. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff in my mind. So it's funny though that he had to try to come up with 5 bad things, and he literally had to come up with like the coins and just something random, the napkins, because he doesn't have much to say, it seems. Bad, and that's a great thing. So yeah, I enjoyed the video. I hope you did too. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you can see another one just like this in the future. I'm going to keep these videos coming, and I post every single day, so you're going to keep seeing me around. And as always, I got to give a shout out to my channel members. My channel members, you mean the world to me. Thank you so much for supporting me on this journey as I discover Europe. It really, really means a lot that you are diving into this journey with me and just helping me and inspiring me to keep producing these videos. So I hope you have the best day, evening, morning, night, midday, wherever you're watching this and whenever you're watching this. And I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.